So welcome back to the Average Guys. I have Aaron on here. He is a lead specialist inside of the advertising space. He has a bunch of different stuff going on, so we're going to dive into his business and what he has going on. So if you want to take it away and introduce yourself.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for first of all, appreciate you having me on here. Lots of crazy stuff going on right now in the world, but it's always good to connect with like-minded people and yeah, just connect and interact. So my name is Aaron. Obviously, you said that before. I guess just a really quick background of what I do. So on one side of things, kind of specialize in two things. Number one is helping real estate agents, teams, brokers, mortgage, really anyone in the real estate space generate more business. We work primarily with real estate, and then on the opposite side of things, also helping other, aspiring entrepreneurs do kind of the same thing of helping other small businesses also attract their own business, and from getting really good at doing that, just helping other people do that as well.
Absolutely, that's awesome. So kind of backtracking, when did you get started in this space? Like, were you working a day job beforehand and you had like an oh crap moment that shifted everything, or like how did that all come about?
I guess a couple different things. I don't know if you've probably seen things by like Mr. Ty Lopez and things like that. I come from the online space. I actually started like 10 years ago. I'm 24 now, and I got started on YouTube back in like when I was like 14, 15, and started doing gaming things and whatnot. I got really good at growing YouTube channels. So I have one that if you've probably heard of, it's called Top Trending. I'm not necessarily I guess I'm the owner, like founder of the channel. Right now I think it's at about 5 million subscribers. So we're still, if you go back, like way back on some of the videos, I was like, I created all the videos. I was the voice of them, all of them. Now we have, people that upload on it and whatnot, but from there, and then my own personal channel, and then just being a part of YouTube, got hit with Ty Lopez, and he was like, hey, you can help business owners do this, that, and the other thing, and you can make like $10,000 a month. I was like, okay, cool. And at the time, I was actually working with a local real estate agent doing, their not necessarily marketing, but more of like the video side, just because my passion is in video. And I think just everything kind of happened all at the same time. I started my own agency from, some of the courses that I took. And then I actually stumbled upon I guess cheap plug to agency Hypergrowth by Brian Ostermiller, Sebastian Robeck. They kind of coached me into, building my own agency. And then, yeah, it kind of kicked off from there, picking real estate, helping real estate agents, like I said earlier on. And that's, I guess, the short version of it. I don't know if you have any specific questions on that.
No, so like going back to doing the lead generation, switching from YouTube to lead generation, obviously you got started like the mid 15 to 17 range, I'm assuming your range. So yeah, that was like right when like ads and everything were blowing up. It was getting really different in the marketplace, because now compared to then, it's a total different place. But how was that transitioning into that? Like, was there a lot of like, how did you find your market? Was it like when you got that course, you started helping realtors, that was like, oh yeah, this is the thing? Or was there like a bunch of different trial and errors?
Well, no, that's actually a really good question, because I really think the real estate side of things, like helping real estate agents, was not the first plan of action, right? Like there was, I bought one course, like the Ty Lopez course. And then there was another course. And if you're listening to this podcast and show, and I'm sure, dude, it's probably the same with you, like you've seen a lot of different courses and have been a part of a lot of them, right? Like whether it's, affiliate marketing, digital marketing, Amazon FBA, like we're constantly hit with all these different things. But I think the transition was just, yeah, a lot of trial and error. Like I started, all these courses would say, go after the chiropractors and the gyms and fitness and all these different things. And, really quickly realized that there was a lot more out there, right? Even though they were saying like, do this, that, and the other thing, go after these industries. Yeah, it was a lot of trial and error, like med spas, chiropractors, started to work with like solar companies, like solar installation companies. And I think just it all kind of came back to when I was, working with the real estate side of things. It's like I find a lot of enjoyment in real estate, just like just kind of the understanding of everything. But to answer your question, yeah, it was a lot of trial and error from that side. And there was a lot of like little micro things that I did, shiny objects, if you will, in between like YouTube and digital marketing, voice acting and on camera acting. I did a lot of different things like on the gaming scene. It's like super big now. I was, I guess, one of the hipsters, the early adopters of the, you know, the gaming scene. So anyway, yeah, it was definitely a lot of trial and error.
Sweet. So were you, when you first got started, were you paying for ads or were you going out and finding these companies organically and like doing your own reach out?
Yeah, that's actually a good point too, because you know, being I don't think I mentioned it, but the course, or not necessarily the course, the mentorship, Brian and Sebastian, because I was able to learn really quickly. They brought me in as a coach. So now I teach, you know, 300, 400 different, I guess we'll call them students or clients, if you will, to do the same thing. And one of the main things that we teach is you really, really need to master organic. And the, you know, the thought process behind that really is like, if you think about it, you know, when you, let's say you start a new business model, whether it's digital marketing or, you know, the, you know, affiliate marketing, Amazon FBA, whatever it is, you need to master like all the, you know, every part of the process, right? So setting up the foundation of branding, you know, all that comes with the foundational stuff. And then, you know, prospecting, right? You need to learn how to post videos, post content, you know, attraction marketing is what we call it. And then also to your sales process, right? It's a really big part that a lot of people don't talk about, is really mastering your sales process and your closing abilities. And then of course, fulfillment, right? You need happy clients. So if you think about it, right? Like, let's say you're, you know, anything, a part of that process is broken. It's like, okay, you have maybe your sales process isn't the best. You're closing at like 5%, which isn't the best, but I mean, hey, 5% is 5%. And then also fulfillment. If you run ads to that and bring on a bunch of, you know, either you bring on clients or you don't sign them on, because again, 5%, then you're really just adding fuel to a broken plane, right? So
Right.
I mean, right now we are doing, you know, more of like the paid side. We've just recently kind of transitioned to that after hitting about 30,000 a month. But everything else before that was organic. And now, because every part is like pretty much spot on and from the beginning to end, now we can start to add fuel to the fire, and it's, you know, it's going to burn brighter than ever before.
Right. You have the systems and processes in place to be able to support your customer inflow.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you were building all of that and going through all of that, was that like a heavy type of mentorship thing where they were like, okay, here's X, Y, Z, put everything like this, or were you out there in the trenches trying to figure everything out and fix the systems and make it all work?
So that's a huge, I think the biggest thing, or one of my best investments, was into agency hypergrowth. You know, you can always, like, even when I was jumping into it, because it's not a cheap program by any means, right? It was like coming from spending $500 on a course to like the thousands that it was to get into the program. I was like, holy shit, like this is crazy. Sorry, hopefully I can't. You bleep that out if you need to.
No, you're fine. You're
So,
good.
but yeah, no, I think early on, I really quickly saw that like I didn't want to spend years trying to figure something out. Because I mean, you know this as much as I do. Like, something that might work in the online space last week, whether it's like a YouTube algorithm, Facebook algorithm, you know, it could literally change on the, you know, on the snap of a finger. So if you're wasting all your time trying to learn these things yourself, like as soon as you learn something, it's going to change, right? Status quo is going to change. The same thing that worked last week might not work now. So I really quickly found the value in finding somebody that was where I wanted to be, and then literally just copying and pasting their system, right? Prospecting, foundation, sales process, closing, fulfillment. They taught me and put all those things into place. And all I needed to do was do the work, do what they told me to do. And it was already a system, right? But I think that's a really big thing that a lot of people, you know, they, whether it's pride, whether they don't see the value in coaching, or, you know, they want to do it all themselves, it's, you kind of have two options, right? Number one, you put a process in place that is proven to work in your industry, or the opposite side, you figure it out, which, I mean, whether
Right.
it's you're investing time or money.
Right. That's literally what it comes down to at the end of the day. It's either, do you
Mm-hmm.
want to put all your money and time into this one thing, or do you want to have somebody show you how to do it and get it done quicker?
Exactly. Yep.
So when you were going organic, was there like a particular platform that you guys, because obviously you came from YouTube, you're key with YouTube. Was that the platform that you stuck with, or did you kind of branch out and find a different platform?
Do you have a YouTube channel?
I do. I
Okay.
do.
So I mean, you, again, you know, as well as I do, like YouTube is definitely a long-term game in terms of like building up like loyal fans and subscribers and things like that. So when I first jumped into like the organic strategies, it was definitely, you know, I had to take a step back and look at like, where is my ideal client? Well, where is my ideal client live? And also, what is going to be the best return on the investment of time, right? What is going to be the best return on time? And for real estate, where we find that, if you think about it, right, all real estate agents have a LinkedIn profile and they have a Facebook page and Instagram too. Like Instagram's, I'm pretty big on there too, because everyone's saying post on Instagram, Gary Vee with his $1.80 strategy, like all that
Right.
stuff going on. So for us, it was like, okay, we need to, our clients live here. Let's just go heavy on there. So just coming from the video on YouTube and, personal branding side, we just started like going heavy on content, right? Like organic, just posting on LinkedIn, posting on Facebook, and really being present everywhere. Of course, we repurpose on YouTube, but with that, again, we talked about it. It's definitely a long-term game. So as of right now, even a year ago and right now, I would say our main platforms are those three: LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Facebook and Instagram probably more heavy, but those are the ones where we primarily stick to.
Definitely. So on the content side of that, how do you, obviously with being a content machine, you're producing every single day, or kind of how I do my content is I'll make every single day, this piece of content needs to be created, this piece of content needs to be created. And then on Saturday, I run through all the pieces of content and just have one day where I'm just running through all the videos. Do you have like a strategy behind that on how you guys produce content?
So we probably should. The way that you're doing is spot on, right? Like just getting everything done. You pick a day, you edit everything, and you can just like post it throughout the week. I think it's definitely something we need to focus a little bit more on, even though we're really content heavy. I think it's definitely sporadic. It works. It's kind of been what's the phrase? The unorganized or disorganized. I don't know.
Or something.
There you go. Yeah. But I think, for us, we haven't really had like a strict schedule. I think, what my business partner, Karan, when we're looking at content, it's like we just started a Facebook group. So we're going to have to start to really get a little bit more into that. Also started a podcast as well. So we're, really making a point to post at least once a week, whether it's us doing an interview. But I think for us, like we kind of look at like, whenever I get an idea, I'll throw up my camera. Like my camera is literally right behind me because I was about to, after this, I'm going to record a couple videos. But to answer your question, no, not really. It's something we need to get better at. And obviously, to give something for our ideal client, our sphere to look forward to. But I think it's just kind of like off the cuff is what I've been the best at for the past 10 years, I guess.
Right. So on the customer and client side, for the fulfillment side, would you care to like kind of elaborate on how the process is from you? Like once you have the customer captures a lead, once you're touching that customer and they're seeing your content and everything, what is the process after that to make them a client and then to fulfill on your sales message and everything? But how does that all go?
Do you have 2 hours?
Well,
I'm just kidding. No, you're good.
Like more on like the automation and the systematized stuff, besides like all the flashy details and everything, because obviously a lot's going to go into it.
So you're saying for our client, like to bring a client into our system, or to bring their client into like a homeowner to buy a home?
Both, kind of both. Now I'm assuming on the homeowner side, you're probably using like some type of sales funnel and like paid ad or paid traffic type deal.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, so I'll break it down. I'll try to stay as high level as I can while also like giving details. Now, of course, I can't give like the nitty gritty, like the secrets, right, like the secret sauce, right? But high level. So for our agency, what we mainly focus on is like you said, the systems and processes, right? The more that you can really productize your service, it will be the best thing that you ever do, right? Because a lot of people that come into agency hypergrowth, the coaching program, it's very sporadic of like, okay, this one client is coming in. Now I'm going to spend all my time on that person, have the conversations. I'm going to spend a day creating a proposal, and then a whole day, getting them onboarded, and then doing the research, things like that. For us, like we've gotten it down to a science from, the point that a client comes into our system, right? They come through the sales process, they sign on the dotted line. We're onboarding, sending them documents, and getting everything kicked off in one day, right? To build out a campaign, it takes like 16 minutes. That's again, like just, we've really finalized and gotten that down. But yeah, that's, I guess, as high a level. We bring them through the sales process. We put them through onboarding. I guess a quick tip for those of you that are, if anybody's listening to this that has a digital marketing agency, one thing that I would say to like focus heavily on, very, very heavily, is the client relationship. I think this is probably the number one thing that I've seen that why clients will not stay long-term is they just feel as if they're another number, right? So within our agency, we make it a really big point to not only have like weekly check-in calls, but I mean, they have my cell phone number. Now, obviously I set, very strict boundaries of don't call me at 2 a.m. if you're
Right.
confused or whatever it is. Right. But, giving them, opportunities to speak to me. And then also we put them through like an onboarding call. So I'll get on a call with them as soon as they come a client. So we're giving them those deliverables in order for them to feel as if they're getting their money's worth, right? Because what we see a lot of times is, someone will sign on an agency client and then they'll go and do build out, which takes a week. And then, there's very little communication from when they give you their credit card information to when they actually start to get that tangible of leads, right? So that's one small tip. And then in terms of the real estate, like our fulfillment side for like our clients to bring in their ideal client, I think we've kind of hit a pocket of a very unique service offering. And what I mean by that is a lot of people are doing real estate marketing. I mean, every single agent that I talk to, they're like, yeah, I've talked to like 95 of you guys. I got 100 messages today about your specific offer. But I think the thing that we do a little bit differently is definitely the client support. Coming from a program that has like, I'm head of fulfillment within the coaching program. So, transitioning that over was pretty simple. But yeah, we high level run paid ads to their ideal client. The leads come in, and that's usually where the service stops for most of these agencies. They generate leads, they tell their ideal client, okay, so you need to follow up, and like, here's name, phone number, email, have fun. But what we do specifically is, not only do we take that side of things, right, but we ask more questions. So we make sure that we're putting them through like 15, 16 questions to make sure that they're qualified. And then we put them through an automation process. So we hit them with email, text message, voicemail drop, put them through sequences. And then we also have an in-house ISA, which is an inside sales agent that will follow up with these leads. So by the time that person, let's say their ideal client of the agent, gets to the agent, they're already warmed up and ready to go, right?
Mhm.
So instead of them having to waste their time on follow-up, waste their time on all these things that their time shouldn't be spent on, they should be out there selling homes, showing homes, doing what they do best. So we want to make sure that we really provide the best service from beginning to end so that, again, they can do what they do best. Their time is spent the most wisely. And at the end of the day, they don't have to, deal with all the follow-up and stuff like that. So that's all high level. Again, it could be a much longer conversation if we went to the specifics, but that's our service.
No, right. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Like that was actually something I was kind of curious about because I see a ton with Ty Lopez. I think it was like this time last year. Ty Lopez came out with that digital course where he was like, everybody target real estate, dentists, all it. Like that market blew up as soon as he came out with that. And hear you talking about how you're actually taking on the sales process is amazing because every single agency owner that I've ever talked to, they're like, just like you said, here's your lead, here's your number, here's your thing, have fun, and that doesn't like help them in any way. Now,
Yep.
going into currently in your coaching, when you are coaching, because obviously you're doing higher volumes because you're a part of another program that's being built, how are you going about doing that? How are you going about getting results for everybody with such a volume of clients?
That's a good question. That is a really because there's a lot of time that's spent into both of them. I also I have an 11-month-old boy, and then I just had another baby like 3 days ago. So, I didn't, my wife did.
Right.
And so time management is definitely a big thing that I've had to learn to get decent at. Although with the two little ones, it's kind of sporadic. Like, you can't always like batch. I mean, we're recording this episode, both of them are asleep, so it all worked out. But I think with just having the systems is the biggest thing. And I know like systems and processes is like this like buzzword nowadays. It's like you have to have your systems and processes, but really like when you break it down, it's super important. Now, when you first start, it's not going to be that way. It's a lot of learning, but once you can like really develop and dive into like what is working, what's not, you just take that and just put, more fuel into it. So to answer the question, I think that how I'm handling all of it is just having really awesome people behind me, right? Like we have a VA that does a lot of like the, manual outreach right now. My brother, Darren, he does a lot of like the client outreach as well. So he kind of has that side down. I deal with more of in the coaching side, just like check-in calls, we call them momentum calls, which is just, bringing people into the program. And then on the real estate side of things, I focus on, again, client fulfillment. So I think if I had to boil it down to, I think it's because I'm just doing the thing that I'm really good at, and that's talking to people, interacting with people, making sure they're happy, things like that. And it never gets to a point where I'm overwhelmed. But again, this has been something we've been developing for about a year and a half. So it hasn't always been this way, right? Like once you figure out what's working, what's not, you develop that, you create systems behind it, and it's evergreen.
Definitely. So currently with today's market and everything kind of going crazy and everybody being stuck at home, have you seen a shift in your market at all? Have you had to like shift gears and kind of change things up because of the corona and all the hysteria and flash craziness that happened behind it, or you guys just keep trucking and hasn't really affected you?
So the cool part about that is that real estate is deemed as an essential business. In most, I can't speak for like all 50 states, right? But at least everybody, all of our current clients and the people that I've talked to, it's still deemed as essential business. So in that aspect, it hasn't really affected us much. But on the coaching side of things, we have people in 50 plus industries. So one of the biggest questions, it's funny you ask this because I literally get this 50 times a day. But I'm glad that you did, because I think it's a mindset shift that a lot of people have to make. So to answer it, no, we haven't changed really anything. What I've been telling everyone is if we've changed anything, we've just been going that much harder. Because if times like this, and it can be anything, right? Don't even look at it as like coronavirus, but look at it like any sort of crisis. Anything that goes wrong in the market, it's inevitable, right? Whatever they say, history repeats itself. So being able to use these things, and not necessarily as a positive thing, I won't talk about the health, implications of any of this stuff. But just naturally with a crisis, there's going to be, let's say the pool of people that are going after digital marketing or real estate agents like this big, right? It's like huge. When something like this happens, there's obviously going to be people that, if we put, like, say the sheep and the lion, right? There's going to be a lot of sheep and they're going to get scared. They're going to use this as an excuse to quit. And that pool gets a lot smaller. So then let's say, we don't know how long this thing's going to last. Let's say it's 2 more weeks, a month, a year. We don't know. But I think that, after everything's done, the ones that stuck around and continue to build up the foundation, build up the trust, build up their pipeline, once it gets to that point where everyone's like, all right, cool, back to normal, those are going to be the people that are on top. So to answer your question, we haven't really changed anything. If anything, again, it's been just like the ability to kind of take this mindset and also instill it into our prospects, because at the end of the day, like, people are scared, people are uncertain, but the more that we can come in with confidence, come in and coach our clients on like, hey, like, this isn't something to worry about. You can do the same thing and come on top of your agency, or on top of your industry. And again, come out that much stronger.
Absolutely. I fully agree with you on that. I've been telling my students that the work from home space, like, it exploded overnight, and it is just crazy how many people are looking at how to work from home. And like you said, there's going to be a lot of sheep and a lot of wolves out here, and the people that are going to last are going to be the people that stand on top after this blows over. Yep. So what if you could go back and talk to yourself before you started your actual company and before you went on your own venture? What was one thing that you would tell yourself then that you know now?
That's a hard one, man. There's so much. If I had to be one thing before, like, the entire, like, digital marketing and, like, own business thing, it would probably be, and this might sound super generic, but trusting the process. Again, like, my online journey, like, even before the digital marketing stuff, and I think I touched on it a little bit earlier, but like, I've been on top of so many different shiny objects, right? Like the YouTube stuff, voice acting, on camera acting, like the list goes on and on. But I think, I strongly believe everything happens for a reason, right? So there's a reason why I stopped, like, heavily going into YouTube. There's a reason I stopped, going to the voice acting stuff, and I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't do that. But I think, yeah, trusting the process and really not only trusting the process, but falling in love with the process, right? Because the second that you start to, get down on yourself for not seeing the results that you're looking for, or, just being hard on yourself for not necessarily seeing, like, the progress as quickly as you want to, just using each of those things. Because if I look back, like, each failure, I guess, if you could say it that way, has been a part of, the learning process, learning from each of those experiences that I've gone through. So yes, I mean, it's extremely cliche, and everybody talks about loving the process and trusting the process, but also reminding yourself like why you're doing these things. Because I mean, if you don't have a, strong reason as to why you're doing it, I mean, now like my reason to do things is stronger than ever, being like, building up a family and building up a legacy. But yeah, I think those would be the two things that I would go back and slap myself with.
Definitely. I wish I could go back and do the same thing to myself, because I missed a huge opportunity back in like 2015 with the advertising space, and I just kind of jumped over it and slept on it. But it happens to the best of us.
Yeah, it's a process, man. I mean, you, from not doing that, you've been able to, capitalize on what you're doing now, and you wouldn't be able to help the people that you're doing now, and we wouldn't be talking. So
Right, right.
everything happens for a reason.
That is the 100% best. So when it comes to your video editing and stuff along that nature, have you found any, obviously that is a huge time consumption thing for everybody in this space. Have you found any like cool little tricks or tidbits over the years that you could share with us?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get, again, that's another thing. I've been editing videos for 10 years, like a bunch of different programs. And honestly, I think it might be one of my downfalls is just like, because I have a very like specific like editing style, it's really hard to like teach, you know what I mean? It's like really hard to teach my like vision and creativity and things like that. Eventually I'm going to have to, just being a business owner. It's like, it does take, I mean, even yesterday, I think I probably spent like 4 or 5 hours just editing content for the week.
Okay.
So in terms of, so do you mean like from like the actual creation side or the physical like editing part of it?
The creation side. A lot of people struggle with the, how do I come up with these ideas? How do I keep producing these ideas? Like, how do I keep this all flowing? It's not necessarily that they struggle putting it together. It's just like the how to. I see a lot of people just so lost on that.
Okay. Yeah, no, that clarifies it for me. So I think the first thing before we even start creating content is we want to figure out what is your ultimate goal, right? Because if what you're currently doing is misaligned with what your goal is, the burnout will happen very, very quickly, because you're not getting the dopamine rush from accomplishing what you're trying to do, right? So that could be, do you want to build up an audience, right, is one thing. Do you want to use it as leverage for your business, right? Do you like really getting specific on why you want to, or what you're doing and what the ultimate goal is? And then that's how you can figure out like, okay, where I go with it. So just a couple of examples, I would say like, if you are doing it to, let's say if I was to start or we have a YouTube channel, but let's just say I'm a brand new digital marketer. I want to build up my YouTube channel to funnel more people into, the ultimate, the product. I will create content specifically on my ideal client's pain points, right? So let's just say, we'll use real estate as an example, because I mean, it's the one that I know best. I'm going to write out a list, and this is something that I've done already. You write out a list of all their pain points, right? So they hate door knocking. They hate cold calling. They hate being ghosted on their appointments, right? I'm going to create, all those are going to be the pain points. On the other side of the sheet, I'll write the solutions to those pain points, right? So whether it is, the relation is, something that my product can solve, then of course I'm going to make a video on that. And they're just making videos on all those things, right? Just helping them create those. Now, of course, on YouTube, we want to make it, a lot more keyword heavy so that it can be, discovered by people. Another like really easy way to go about it, if the goal is on the opposite side, like building an audience, is going up to YouTube. This is a super sneaky hack that I use. If you're on YouTube and you want to build up subscribers, think of it this way. YouTube is the second largest search engine right behind Google, right? So people are constantly searching for things. So if you want to create content that people are searching for, you need to go into the search bar, type in how to, and then let's say real estate. And then the suggested things that come up, those are all topics that people are not only searching for, but they're also content ideas, right? So I guess that would be one of my tips. But I think just the biggest thing is getting 100% clear on what you're trying to do, and then just go for it. And eventually you'll hit your stride.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. So currently we're about running out of time. Now, I do have a curiosity question. From this ask point currently right now to take yourself next year, what are some things that you want to see positively happen in your business that I can come back and kind of check up on you and do an update on this interview a year later and see where you're at with it?
Well, okay. So goal, aspirations, goals, all those things are really, I mean, obviously I can sit here all day and talk about goals because I haven't written down them stuff. I think that if we were to check in from a year to now, I think we would want to have helped at least, we'll say 150 real estate agents. Right now we're, I think probably about 30. So in a year, I think if we, and I mean, hey, we might talk to and help 400. So I don't know. I think ultimately the goal is like 150. And then also being able to take the coaching side of things and help another, additional 200, agency owners, right? Helping them, coaching them. I think where, one of the main things that I always come back to is like, people are always like, well, Aaron, like, what is your why? Like, why do you do what you do and things like that? And I think the ultimate why just lies behind helping people, right? Helping, even the main reason I created my YouTube channel right now that has 180,000 subscribers was created specifically on how to help people. And you probably see the Snapchat stuff in the background.
Yep.
I was like one of the first people that started talking about Snapchat on YouTube. And that's why I, grew from 0 to 180,000 in like 7 months. So again, helping people on, whether it's social media or digital marketing agencies or, the real estate side of things, I think that's my ultimate goal. So I think if we were talking a year by now that, and then of course, like I wanted like all the micro things of, investing in real estate and, things like that.
Definitely. So if anybody wants to find out anything more from you, or they want to view any of your courses, coaching, or creation, where would be the best place for them to find anything?
Yeah. So if you are, you have a digital marketing agency and might listen to this podcast, or you're looking to start up an online business or anything like that, definitely you can just add me on Facebook. I mean, I add pretty much everybody as long as you're not creepy. Aaron Martinez, you can search me on there. I'm the guy with a crazy suit, multicolored suit. It's super easy to find. And then also on Facebook, we have a Facebook group called Agency Hypergrowth. It's our free group. There's like 8,000 people in it, I think. And that's specifically like free content. There's nothing to buy. I mean, obviously, full transparency. If we think you can help out and you want to reach out to us and you want some help building the agency, then of course, we'll talk about what that looks like. But yeah, I think those are the easiest things just there. I mean, my Instagram is Aaron FPS, FPS as in like frames per second. And you can find me there as well.
Sweet. Well, I appreciate you jumping on the show, and I appreciate all the information you